I think the biggest benefit of my graduate experience was having a creative space where I felt safe to fail and to explore and just to do a lot of generative work and a lot of writing. I also really benefited from the structure of having workshop slots, knowing that on this day at this time, there's going to be a room full of actors ready to read for me. That was really motivating, and it helped me to move through a lot of writing and to explore a lot of things that I never thought I would do.
I think the best part of my grad experience was friendship, relationships and friendships and close collaborations and getting to be in the trenches with other artists and learn very closely from other artists and forming really meaningful relationships. Uh, that that was the most important part.
I think three really important things. One, I love the other playwrights here. We're a small cohort over the 3 years, and we all know each other so well, which means we can just give each other the best feedback and just be there for each other in the best way. Two has been the fact that we have MFAs in every discipline, which means that when we collaborate, we're collaborating with other people that are really committed to building their craft in the same way. And it means that we get to all make work together. And then three has been the industry kind of networking aspect of this, because I've gotten to have, sit down dinners and lunches with amazing industry professionals from around the country and build relationships that I think are good and strong and can serve me as I leave here.
One of the biggest challenges I think I had was around learning how to give feedback. It's something we all had to learn, and it wasn't explicitly taught to us like in a class. So sometimes it was a little rough, but it surprised all of us that there was this curve in terms of learning about how to talk about each other's work in a way that was useful and constructive.
I think the biggest challenge about being in grad school was the pace at which we were asked to generate a ton of work. I ended up writing about 10 plays in the 3 years that I was in grad school. And it was just this constant need to churn out new things. And that can be really helpful. And that can also be exhausting. And you can really start to feel lost in what you're trying to make. And it can be really hard to just sound like yourself. And it can be really gnarly to figure out how to write in a way that you recognize. And that can be a painful and awkward process. But that's the point of generating a lot of work.
I am the only South Asian graduate student in the Department of Theater and Dance here. And I think that's not a unique experience for South Asian people across grad schools. And it's not a unique experience for people of a lot of different, identities and intersectionalities, right? But for me, that's been challenging because it can be isolating at times. There are ways in which world events affect me differently than my cohort, my peers. There are ways in which I have to work a little harder at figuring out casting or something like that, where it takes time away from the craft. It means that I'm focusing on a producing thing instead of on playwriting.
A piece of advice I got was don't expect anyone to teach you anything, which is a little cynical, and I can't say that I completely agree, but I think it's really important to set your own goals and your own benchmark for success on your terms. Grad school can feel all-consuming, but ultimately it's just a short time in your life and your journey as a writer. It is not the be-all end-all by any means. Think of grad school as a space to develop your voice and be open to input, but don't feel like you have to become something that you're not.
I think don't be afraid to love what you love and cling to the people who get you and get what you're going for. And don't listen to all of the negativity from people who really don't understand what you're trying to do. And I would say try to build a spiritual practice. I think everybody should meditate every morning before when they are in graduate school. And I think that would help everyone.
One piece of advice I'd give is just to take note of all of the things that inspire you and motivate you as a writer while you're in school, because once you're kicked out of the nest, you'll have to rebuild all of that. For me, it was the sense of being in community with other writers. So once I graduated, I knew it was important for me to find people to have that kind of community with, even though I was no longer in school.
I actually think that it starts before you go to grad school, making the most of your grad school experience. It's really about that time before taking that time to be really clear about what it is you actually want out of grad school. Do you even want grad school? Because you don't need grad school to be a playwright in America. It's not a requirement. So what do you want out of it? Why is it important to you? Because then you can be really specific about where you apply and not waste your time applying to programs that aren't going to give you what you need because of what you have decided you need for yourself. It's so personal. And then once you actually get there, you can be clear with, your faculty and your mentors about why you came to this program and what is important that, that you get delivery on.